The chapel smells like lilies and old wood. You're sitting in the second row not because you're late, but because she said the front was reserved for family. Her words had teeth disguised as formality. You don't flinch, not yet, but you file it away. It's always something with her, isn't it? Your father lies in the casket up front, all waxed and folded like a hotel towel. It's strange he always said he wanted to be cremated. You glance at the ornate mahogany box again, trying to reconcile this display with the man who once laughed over diner hash browns and told you scatter me at sea, not in some damn suit. People murmur behind you. People who knew your dad from boardrooms and golf courses and yacht parties you never attended. You sit still, letting them forget you're even here. Then it happens. She leans down beside you. Your stepmother. Lips perfectly lined perfume like wilted roses. Grief so performative it should come with an intermission. Her voice is silk over gravel. You do know you're adopted? Right, she whispers. There's a pause. Not from you, from the air around you. The words hang acid on velvet. Her eyes don't even look at you when she says it. Just forward like she's commenting on the weather. You don't move. You don't blink. But you feel every pair of eyes 2 rows back shift flicker sense. The gasp is silent, but it ripples. You turn your head slightly not to face her, but to acknowledge. You blink once. You don't give her the gasp, the denial, the breakdown she wants. You give her a blank canvas and let her paint the crazy onto herself. She leans back, satisfied, lips curled at the corners. The service drones on, a priest says words, someone sings badly, no one asks you to speak. You're glad. You wouldn't have known what to say. Instead, your eyes stay on the casket, on your father's hands folded on his chest, holding nothing. You remember the way those hands gripped yours when he taught you to tie a sailor's knot, the way they gestured when he told stories, always big, always larger than life. He didn't believe in small feelings. And now here you sit, small. But not for long. You don't leave when the others file out. You wait, quietly. You step up to the casket alone and place your fingers on the polished wood. It's colder than you thought it would be. You lean in not to say goodbye, but to ask something only the dead can keep. Is it true? No answer, of course, but something shifts. Maybe in you. As you turn, you notice her again, laughing with some second cousin near the exit, her black hat tilted just so. You wonder if she rehearsed her grief the same way she rehearsed that whisper. The same way she probably rehearsed her gloating face for the lawyer's office next week. You walk past her without a word. But as you reach the doors, you do something unplanned. You reach into your coat and touch the envelope. The sealed one. The one your father gave you on your 18th birthday with that cryptic instruction, don't open it, just give it to the lawyer. You'll know when. You never did know what he meant. Not until now. Now you do. You don't go home right after the funeral. You drive aimlessly, letting the turns take you where they want. At some point, you end up outside your childhood home, not the sterile mansion she made him buy later, but the old craftsman-style one, the house with squeaky steps and sun-warmed windows. You just sit in the car staring at the porch where your dad used to drink coffee in the mornings, barefoot robe wide open like a king who didn't care about kingdoms. You were never sure if he built the warmth in that house or if it just echoed him. Now it's boarded up, empty, a ghost of laughter behind drywall. You think about that gallery inside the one hallway where your dad insisted on hanging every family photo, even the embarrassing ones. There was one of you at 6, dressed as a pirate, one gold hoop earring dangling fake parrot taped to your shoulder. You'd tried to take it down once as a teenager, and he caught you in the act. Every version of you belongs here, he said, even the pirate. Back then you laughed. Now the memory feels different. Like it's pushing at your ribs, reminding you that maybe, just maybe he meant more than you realized. Because now you're starting to second-guess things. The whisper from your stepmother cracked something open and it won't close. You find yourself rewinding moments you never questioned before. The lack of baby photos. The school paperwork always signed in his hand, never hers. The way she used to correct you when you called her mom. The way he once told a stranger, "This is my kid and nothing else." It's like flipping through a photo album where someone's quietly erased every caption. And yet, it's not just doubt that fills you now. It's something else. Anger, yes, but also clarity. You remember how he looked at you after graduation. The eyes, full of something that wasn't pride, it was relief, no resolve. Like he'd finished building something and now it was yours. You tap your fingers against the steering wheel, the envelope heavy in your coat pocket. Unopened. You've kept it sealed for years, trusting his words even when they made no sense. Give it to the lawyer when the time comes, he said. Not if, when. As if he knew this moment would arrive. You park at the funeral home again, but not to grieve. You go back inside, find the empty side room where mourners had coffee and silence. It's mostly cleared now, just a few stray napkins and a forgotten water bottle. You step into the hall lined with framed black and white photos of strangers in mourning clothes, and there, in the middle of the wall, your father's memorial portrait, freshly printed, slightly crooked and full of him. He's smiling in it, of course, always was, that knowing half smile like he'd already read the last page of the book. You stare at it for a while, then finally turn toward the gallery. The real one. Not the funeral parlor wall, but the one in the lawyer's office you're visiting next week, the one where people get measured in net worth and last names. And for the first time since she whispered that poison in your ear, you're not hollow. You're heavy with decision. She thought her whisper would shatter you, but she doesn't know about the envelope. She doesn't know that, instead of breaking, you remembered the exact grip of your father's hand on your shoulder the day he gave it to you. And she sure as hell doesn't know what's coming next. You reach for your phone and schedule the appointment. Same lawyer, same office. But this time, you add a note we'll be bringing sealed documents from the deceased. You don't sign it with your last name. You just write from the pirate. Let her guess. The lawyer's office is exactly the kind of place grief goes to put on a tie. You arrive 10 minutes early, but she's already there, of course. Her coat draped over the high-back chair like a queen in waiting. She's sipping bottled water like it's imported from a glacier, flipping through her phone with a slow, satisfied smirk. Black dress, tasteful pearls, no sign of mourning other than the color palette. The receptionist glances at you with that look that says, "You sure you're supposed to be here?" You nod once and walk past without asking. She doesn't look up when you enter the conference room, but you know she hears you. Her posture shifts just slightly. Her shoulder draws back, her head tilts with faux nonchalance. You sit. Didn't expect you'd show, she says, still scrolling. Thought maybe you'd drift off, like your father always said you did. You don't answer, not verbally. You pull the envelope from your coat and place it flat on the polished table. That gets her attention. She blinks once, then sets the phone down. What is that? You look at her, then at the lawyer, who finally walks in, tie crooked, breath shallow, like he's already bracing for the storm. The envelope sits between you like a loaded weapon, plain, white, untouched for years. I was told to give it to you, you say to the lawyer. When the time came, the lawyer hesitates, then slowly reaches for it, slides a letter opener across the seam, and pauses. He glances at you, then at her, and begins to read. Silence drops like a curtain. You watch his face shift, eyebrows tightening, lips parting, then flattening. 1 page, 2 pages, a third clip to the back. His fingers tremble slightly on the edges. And then he clears his throat. She leans forward. Well, can we get on with this? He looks directly at her now. There's been a revision to the estate plan. She blinks. What revision? He opens a folder, pulls out a copy, fresh notarized. Your father's signature stamped in ink dated just 3 months ago. Your stepmother laughs short and sharp. This is absurd. I have the will. The original. We signed it together. He revoked that. The lawyer replies calmly, professionally. This supersedes it. What? She doesn't yell. She doesn't need to. Her voice slices, controlled, dangerous. I have power of attorney. I managed his affairs when he was. No, the lawyer interrupts, voice firmer now. That authority was voided. As of the date on this document, full fiduciary power was reassigned. To whom she snaps. The lawyer glances at you. You meet her eyes finally, hold them, and then say just loud enough to the pirate. Her lips part, confusion flickering into rage. The lawyer continues. As of the revision, the trust established in your father's name places all assets, liquid property, and corporate shares under sole direction of the beneficiary listed in this envelope. You don't gloat, you just breathe. He hands you a copy of the trust paperwork. Your hands don't shake. You've waited too long for that. She doesn't speak. She just stares. And then, like it's a casual remark, the lawyer adds, there's a clause. It says any party who knowingly attempts to alter or obstruct this transition forfeits their claim to the estate, retroactively. Silence, utter, heavy, unmovable. You watch her face change. Not anger? Not yet. First calculation. She's scanning, adjusting. She's used to control. She's not used to losing it. I'm sure we can discuss this privately, she says, standing. The lawyer shakes his head. This meeting is being recorded. Your father insisted. Of course he did. You lean back. Let the truth stretch across the room like sunlight through stained glass. Warm, inevitable. Let her sit in it. Let her realize the whisper she used to hurt you was the match that lit her own unraveling. The envelope is lighter now. You hold the empty sleeve in your lap, its seal split clean down the middle. All those years of wondering, reduced to ink and clauses, signatures, and timestamps. It should feel heavier this moment. But it doesn't. It feels weightless, like something has unlatched inside your chest and let in the first clean air in years. She's quiet now over in the corner, her composure cracking in microscopic fractures. Not enough to cause a scene, but enough for you to see behind the curtain. The lawyer offers her water, and she takes it, her fingers curling just a little too tightly around the cup. I'd like a recess, she says finally. This is unexpected. You raise an eyebrow. Unexpected, I thought you expected I'd drift off. Her jaw clenches. The smile she gives you doesn't reach her eyes. You always did take things personally. You almost laugh. Almost. But instead you turn to the lawyer. Can we review the contents again, just for clarity? He nods, grateful to be talking logistics. The trust documents are thorough. Every asset accounted for. The coastal house you loved as a kid, the one she claimed as hers after your father's stroke, is listed under your name. So is the mountain property she told people had mysteriously sold last year. It hadn't. Your father just moved the paperwork into a shell company, one only you had access to. You remember his words now clearer than ever. People lie, documents don't. Keep this sealed and you'll know when. You glance back down at the last page. There's a short letter handwritten, the only part not printed. Kid, if you're reading this, then she's already trying to gut you. Told you not to open this, and I know you obeyed, which is why you're holding the keys now. There's more I didn't put in paper. I trust you to find it. Love you. No matter what she says. No matter what she does. Your throat closes around something quiet and sharp. You fold the letter once and place it back in your coat. I'll take it from here, you say. The lawyer nods again and you rise. She doesn't stop you. Doesn't even look at you. Not as you leave the room, not as the door hisses shut behind you. Outside, the sun cuts across the pavement like a brand new blade. The sky is too blue. You blink against it, not sure where to go next. So you do what makes sense. You go home, not the apartment you rent downtown, not the loft you barely sleep in. You drive toward the house on the coast, the one you always thought had been sold, lost, vanished. But now it turns out it was yours all along. He never let it go. You take the back roads, the ones he used to prefer, through towns that never updated their signs and gas stations that still smell like 1992. There's no music, no news, no distraction. Just the low hum of tires on asphalt and the sound of your own breath. By the time you reach the turnoff, the sky has dimmed to that in-between color that isn't quite dusk. The gate swings open with a code, your code. The gravel crunches familiarly beneath your wheels. You park slowly and step out. The porch creaks exactly the way you remember. You don't knock. No one's here to answer. You unlock the door and the house exhales. Inside, it's the same. Dustier, sure, but unchanged. The photographs still line the mantel. The sofa still has that ugly throw blanket. You walk into the study where his old desk sits under the window. You sit for the first time in his chair. And then you open the drawer. At first it's just papers, old receipts, a rusted compass, but underneath another envelope. This one addressed in your father's handwriting. No seal, already open once. Inside, a photo of the two of you. He's holding you on his shoulders. You're 3, maybe 4. Behind you, a woman you don't recognize. And on the back, every version of you belongs here. The pirate, the kid, the heir. You smile, not for her, not even for him. But for you. You don't sleep that night. Not really. You lie on the couch with the blanket pulled up to your chest, listening to the ocean scratch the shore like it's trying to confess something. The house feels quieter than you remember, like it's waiting for permission to be yours again. At some point, maybe around 3 a.m., you get up. No lights, just moon through the blinds. You wander back into the study, barefoot letter still folded in your hand. You sit at his desk again, this time not to search, just to be. Your fingers trace the wood grain, those little nicks from when he used to tap his pen during calls. You remember sitting under that desk as a kid, hiding from thunder. He'd always say storms only sound scary when you don't understand them. You wonder if he meant that about more than weather. The next morning, you return to the lawyer's office for the final review. You're calm now, focused, prepared. She's already there again, this time dressed in white, oddly enough. A peace offering color, perhaps, though her eyes are anything but soft. She doesn't speak. Neither do you. The lawyer welcomes you both into the same room. You take the same seat, so does she. But this time, everything is different. He begins reading through the transfer details, properties, stocks, foundations. He moves efficiently until he gets to the clause marked with a gold tab, beneficiary reserve discretion. You nod. I'd like to invoke it, you say. She looks up, finally. That clause allows for you to relinquish or reassign individual assets. The lawyer explains at your sole discretion and without contest. I know, you reply, then turn toward her. You can keep the summer house, you say quietly. The one in Aspen. She blinks. Suspicion flashes across her face, then confusion. Why? You don't answer right away. Instead, you fold your hands. Because I don't want it, you finally say. And because I want you to wonder for the rest of your life why I let you have anything at all. The room stills, not from shock, but from the precision of it. This isn't revenge. This is the lack of revenge. The silence after the symphony. The withheld note. You think that makes you noble? She whispers, voice thin. You smile just barely. No, you say. It makes me free. She stands suddenly, the chair legs screeching behind her. She doesn't wait for the meeting to end. She doesn't even grab her bag, just storms out, heels striking the floor like punctuation. You sit there for a moment, watching the dust settle in the air. The lawyer breaks the silence. I wasn't sure you'd use the envelope. You shrug, neither was I, until she opened her mouth. He smiles a little. Your father planned all this, you know. Every part. That envelope, the trust, even the photo in the study. Your head tilts. What about it? It's a copy, he says. The original's in the bank box, with a letter for you. But he wanted that one in the drawer. Thought it might keep you steady. You nod. That sounds like him. You know, the lawyer says, voice quieter. Now he never mentioned adoption. Not once. You don't react. You don't need to, because you already knew. That whisper at the funeral, it wasn't about truth. It was about fear. She feared that you were his real child in every way that mattered, mind will name. And you were. You stand slowly, thank the lawyer, and leave the office for the last time. On the street outside, the wind feels different, like it's greeting you now instead of pushing you around. You reach into your coat and feel the empty envelope still folded there. It's strange, isn't it, how something sealed so long could open up a future this wide. You don't go straight back to the house, not yet. Instead, you drive to the marina, the one your dad used to call his last church. He wasn't religious, not in the stained glass sense, but out here, surrounded by salt and rope and the creak of wood beneath your feet, he used to say, "This is where I tell the universe my secrets." The air bites gently as you walk along the dock. Seagulls wheel overhead like gossipers. Boats bob, ropes snap, and somewhere in the distance, a bell tolls once lonely and final. You find his boat still docked at the end. The coral quiet. Not a big one, not fancy. But it was his, and that meant everything. You step aboard and feel the floor sway under you like it's remembering your weight. Inside the cabin, the air is stale, but not sad. More like preserved. Time stopped here, politely waiting for your return. There's a photo taped above the navigation table, him holding a drink, sunburned and smiling. You never knew this photo existed. You stare at it and feel your breath hitch. Someone took it when he wasn't looking. Maybe that's the point. In the corner cabinet, you find a metal box. It's unmarked but unlocked. Inside, papers, keys, a flash drive, and a note scribbled on yellowing notepad paper. Use this if she gets ugly, which she will. Love, Dad. You laugh, out loud this time. a short, sharp bark that turns into something softer. Because even in death, he's still narrating your life, still one step ahead of her. You flip through the papers, property ledgers, passcodes, names, and there tucked at the back is something that stops your breath. A birth certificate, your name, your father's, no mention of adoption. But that's not the part that hits hardest. It's the sticky note attached. No one has to earn being family, but you did anyway. You sit down hard on the bench beside the birth. The air shifts. You feel like crying, but don't. Not yet. Instead, you let the weight of it press into your shoulders, the knowing, the proof. Because for so long, she dangled doubt like a marionette, always waiting for you to reach up and pull the strings. And for a while, maybe you did. But now you hold every string in your own hand. You stay on the boat until dusk, let the sky turn sherbet and bruise, let the gulls fade into the wind. Then, finally, you lock it up and head back. When you get home, the house greets you differently. Less like a museum, more like a diary. You open windows, air out the grief. Let the place breathe again. In the upstairs closet, his old closet, you find a box labeled simply, "Things She Hated." Inside your baby shoes, his college hoodie, a frame print of you two on the porch one summer barefoot and covered in popsicle drips. There's a stuffed octopus from your first trip to the aquarium, and a tattered drawing of a house with stick figures labeled me plus dad plus boat. She hated all of it, apparently. So he kept it. Safe. You realize then that revenge isn't always a roar. Sometimes it's a shelf, a box, a photo he refused to throw out. You sit cross-legged on the floor, sifting through relics like a quiet archaeologist of your own past. And when you find a faded cassette tape labeled Boat Conversations 1999, you don't hesitate. You dig out an old player from the storage room, dust it off, press play. Static, then his voice. "Okay, we're recording. It's Tuesday. The kid just learned how to tie a bowline, and I didn't even help. Genius level stuff. If you're listening to this someday, I hope I did right by you." You close your eyes and let the voice wrap around you like rope in salt air. He did. He really did. The call comes the next morning. Predictable. Your phone buzzes just after 8. No caller ID, but the tone is unmistakable, sharp, urgent, and vaguely offended by your silence. You let it ring out the first time. And the second. It's the third call that you answer. Not because you're curious, but because you're ready. Her voice lands without greeting. "You planned this." You smile into the phone. "I opened an envelope." "You humiliated me," she hisses, in front of everyone. You glance out the window, watching waves slide like breath against the shore. You whispered a lie at his funeral. Silence. Then quieter. "You weren't supposed to be there." "I told the planner you'd probably decline." "I didn't." Another pause. You can feel her trying to recalibrate, searching for a thread to pull something to unravel you with. "He adopted you," she says, reaching again. "You do know that, right? You weren't his." "He was mine," you cut in, calm, steady, and he knew it. She exhales sharply like you slapped her. "You think a few signatures in houses make you his child?" "No," you say. "But saving every drawing I made, every toy you wanted him to throw out, every tape recording from the boat, that kind of makes a case." She's quiet. "Then he loved me." You let that hang. "Maybe," you reply, "but not like he trusted me." The silence on the line stretches thin. She tries one last maneuver. "We could settle things. Privately. Not everything has to be scorched earth." You lean back. "You tried to burn me down at a funeral." "I was grieving." You raise an eyebrow. You whispered that I wasn't his. "That's not grief. That's a premeditated knife." Her tone turns bitter. "You've changed." You laugh softly. "No. I just finally stopped waiting for you to like me." You hang up, and for the first time since the funeral, you feel it release. That subtle shift when the weight someone dropped on your chest finally rolls off and hits the floor with a thud. You spend the rest of the day cleaning the house. Not angrily. Not like erasing her, but like peeling old wallpaper. One strip at a time. One layer of someone else's taste gone. You box up the glass sculptures she insisted were heritage. You donate the silk pillows and the dusty faux books she placed for show. You take down the massive canvas over the fireplace, a gray smear of pretentious art, and behind it find a pencil sketch of a harbor. Your dad's work, one of the only pieces he ever did in quiet. You hang it back up. That night you light the fire and sit in the quiet, the house creaking gently as it settles into the truth. You go through the rest of the items from the boat box. Most of it's financial clean, clear, final. But there's one more letter. Short, just 4 words. Don't become her revenge. You stare at it, and something in you pauses. Because it would be easy, wouldn't it? To fight her in court over every square inch, to expose every lie she ever told, to make her name echo with shame. But your father knew. He knew the trap. You fold the letter and tuck it away. Later, you write one of your own, to her. A single-page document. No threats, no accusations, just a clear legal outline of what you're keeping and what you're letting go. You grant her a small monthly stipend. Enough to live, not enough to gloat. You waive your right to one of the properties she clearly loved but couldn't afford. You make it clean, unmistakable. Because you understand now some revenge isn't rage, it's restraint. The letter reaches her 2 days later, delivered by courier, signed for at 9:07 a.m. You don't hear back. No call, no text, no burst of outrage. Just silence, which is frankly louder than anything she could have said. You imagine her reaction. The first read through confusion, then disbelief, then rage at the dignity of it. Because that's the worst thing you could have done, really. Refused to fight, declined to play the game, just handed her what she never gave you closure. She had counted on the chaos, on you reacting, exploding, proving her point. Instead, you folded her story neatly and put it on a shelf. You spend the morning walking the beach near the house. The sand is cold, wind-sharp sky clouded just enough to feel like a secret. You remember your dad used to walk this stretch whistling badly, telling jokes to passing gulls like they were old friends. He'd always say some people talk to their demons. I just walk them until they're tired. You try it now. Let your thoughts catch up with your steps. Let them untangle. You think about everything she tried to bury, the doubt she planted, the questions she sharpened into blades. You're not really his. You're just the afterthought. You were never supposed to stay. And how easily you might have believed her. If not for an envelope. If not for your father who saw her game before you ever stepped onto the board. That evening, you sit at the old piano in the living room. You're not good. Never were. But you press the keys anyway, soft, clumsy, honest. The same 4 chords your dad taught you one rainy afternoon when the power was out and the house smelled like wet towels and burnt popcorn. You fumble through the last note and laugh. The room is warm. In the corner, you notice a small frame picture tipped forward one of you as a kid front teeth, missing holding a trophy too big for your hands. He took it at your first school spelling bee where you came in 4th. Still brought you ice cream like you won gold. You pick it up, dust it gently, and set it upright again. The phone rings. Not hers. This time it's the lawyer. Got something for you, he says. Another recording. From the vault. It was dated to be released only after the estate was finalized. Your pulse jumps. Audio. Video. You don't waste time. You drive back into town heart-heavy with curiosity. When you arrive, he hands you a small flash drive in a brown envelope. No label. Just your name written in your dad's blocky scrawl. You drive home before playing it. The house needs to be the one to hear it first. You plug it into your laptop and hit play. The screen flickers. Then there he is. Your father older than you remember. Weathered. But those eyes still sharp. Still watching. He leans forward, arms on the desk. If you're seeing this, he says, then the world spun the way I thought it might. He pauses, breathes. I didn't tell you everything. Not because I didn't trust you, but because I needed you to live without knowing. I needed you to become who you are without this shaping every step. He holds up a piece of paper. Your birth certificate? She said you weren't mine. She lied. He sets it down. You're my blood. But even if you weren't, you'd still be mine. Because family isn't built in hospital rooms. It's built in breakfasts and car rides and stories you share only once. He leans back, and let her fade. She wanted control. You don't have to give it to her. Let her memory dissolve on its own. Then his eyes soften. I'm proud of you. Not for holding on, but for knowing when to let go. The screen fades. Black. You sit in the silence after blinking slow, the sound of the ocean seeping back in through the walls. You don't cry, but you don't move for a while either. Because sometimes love doesn't shout. Sometimes it leaves a video behind. The days after watching the video feel surreal. The house hums with a new energy, not just because it's finally yours, but because the weight of hidden truths is lifting. You start sorting through your father's belongings with a kind of reverence, as if each item is a piece of a puzzle you're finally allowed to complete. You find an old box tucked beneath the floorboards in the study. It's dusty and locked, but you remember the key taped inside a book on the shelf. You retrieve it carefully and turn it slowly in the rusty lock. The box creaks open. Inside, there are letters handwritten yellowed with age, and a small collection of photographs, many of which you don't recognize. You sift through them, pictures of your father as a young man, candid shots with a woman you've never seen, a child who isn't you. Then, there are letters addressed to my dearest and signed with his initials. You read a few lines aloud, his handwriting looping elegantly. I wish you could meet my son someday, the boy who carries my name in my heart. Your breath catches. You realize these are love letters, proof of a life before you, a secret he protected fiercely. But it's not anger or betrayal you feel now. It's understanding. He hid these parts of himself not to exclude you, but to protect everyone from pain he couldn't mend. The man you thought you knew was more complex than stories and whispers. You take a deep breath and fold the letters back carefully. It's time to write your own chapter. You pick up the phone and call the lawyer. I'm ready, you say. Let's finalize everything. No surprises. He chuckles softly. There won't be any. Later, you sit at the dining table, pen in hand, writing a letter not to your stepmother, not to your father, but to yourself. A promise to honor the truth, to forgive the silence, to build something new from the ruins. Because this story isn't about revenge anymore. It's about reclaiming your own voice, and you're ready to speak it. Weeks pass. The estate settles, and the house feels more like home each day. You move in, fully unpacking boxes, long forgotten filling rooms, with your own quiet presence. The scent of fresh paint mixes with the salty ocean air, and you find peace in the small routines, making coffee at dawn, watering plants on the porch, watching gulls dive into the sea. One afternoon, you stand in your father's old office, the sunlight casting golden patterns across the hardwood floor. You pull a framed photo from your coat pocket, the one you found in the box years ago. The pirate costume, the gold hoop earring, the grin too wide for words. You set it carefully on the desk next to a new photo of yourself, taken recently, smiling, with eyes that have seen more but softened. The room feels alive, filled with echoes and possibilities. You trace your finger along the edges of the frame, feeling the pulse of memory and hope. You think about the silence after the storm, the moments when everything seems broken but holds the promise of healing. You think about your father's quiet love, the envelope, and the truth he trusted you with. You think about your stepmother's whisper and how it didn't break you. It only made you stronger. You take a deep breath, looking out the window at the horizon where sky meets sea. The tide is turning. The past is settling into the sand, and you are here, standing unshaken, finally home. Because sometimes the most powerful revenge isn't shouting into the void. It's reclaiming your story on your own terms. You turn back to the desk, pick up a pen, and begin to write not a will, not a letter, but a new beginning. One that belongs only to you. And if you're still awake, that's okay too. Some nights just lying still and breathing softly is enough to return home to yourself. The evening light softens outside your window, the world quieting as the day folds gently into night. You sit still, feeling the slow rhythm of your breath steady and calm. The weight of all that's past, the whispers, the secrets, the long-held silences begins to ease like a tide receding from the shore. In this moment, there is no rush, no need to fix or fight. There is only the gentle unfolding of peace, like a quiet song you almost forgot you knew. Your heart beats softly, a reminder that you are here alive and whole, even after all the storms. You think back to your father's voice, the way he trusted you without question, the way he left you pieces of himself, hidden in envelopes and letters, waiting for you to find them when the time was right. That trust, that love, it lingers, still unseen, but deeply felt. And you realize something simple but profound. Sometimes strength isn't found in loud victories or fierce battles. Sometimes it's found in the quiet moments when you choose to breathe, to forgive, to let go. You let the silence settle around you, wrapping you in a soft embrace. You don't have to carry the past anymore. You don't have to answer every challenge or shout down every lie. Tonight, just lying still, breathing softly is enough. It's enough to return home to yourself. To come back to the person who's always been there beneath the noise and the pain. The person ready to begin again. And if you're still awake, that's okay too. Some nights just lying still and breathing softly is enough to return home to yourself.